This summer, I went to Anime Expo in LA as redemption for last year, but we only had less than a day to see everything the convention had to offer, and because this happened to be my first time ever, mistakes were made. It's day 2 of Anime Expo, so while we did have quite a fun time at LineCon, at least we didn't try to go on day 1. Besides, as an avid Disneyland fan, I'm not fazed by long lines. I waited in line for Rise of Resistance without a fast pass. That said, I did feel a bit unsafe for this one because we did have to loop around some very questionable areas. This was LA, so I was afraid of getting attacked by a crazy person. Not like this guy with a sword can protect me. I mean, I guess I was armed with a volleyball, so that might have been okay. After waiting in line for maybe about an hour or so, we finally get our badges and we walk inside the convention center and immediately, Asians, anime, weebs, everywhere. Never before in my life have I been surrounded by such a beautiful sight. Like, where do I even begin? The restroom might be a good start. I may have drank a little too much tea on the way up here and I wasn't about to use those porta potties, okay? In the meantime, you, sir, look like you could use some help. Well, let me get you something better. Introducing BetterHelp, an online therapy platform and a sponsor of a portion of this video. I think we can all agree that there are just a lot of stressful things out there. School, work, women, men, babies. You know, life is just hard in general, and bottling up all that stress and bad juju and putting up on the shelf is a huge no-no in the Self-Care 101 guidebook for dummies. But BetterHelp makes therapy easy, accessible, and affordable by connecting you to a professional therapist through the convenience of the internet. All you gotta do is answer a few questions about yourself, and by the end of it, BetterHelp will match you with a therapist that best suits your needs in as little as a few days. So simple, it's insane. Wait, am I allowed to say that? Finding a therapist you connect and vibe with is very important. So if for some reason you aren't satisfied, BetterHelp allows you to switch therapists for no additional fee. Therapist, return! Okay, it may not work exactly like that, but I think you get the point. And look, I get it. From my experience, talking about my problems, my insecurities, and being vulnerable in front of a stranger was definitely very uncomfortable at first. And it was honestly one of the reasons I was hesitant in the first place. But there's something about just simply talking it out and exploring your thoughts with someone trained to help you that just lifts a weight off your shoulders. And while I wasn't necessarily given special powers to go like Jujutsu Kaisen on all my problems, my therapist did give me tools and practices I can use to approach them in a better and healthier way. Seeking therapy is not and should never be a sign of weakness, and it is honestly one of the best things you can do for your mental health. It's like a spa session for your soul. So if you got something that you feel like needs to be banished to the shadow realm, consider giving BetterHelp a try. Use my link in the description below or go to betterhelp.com/youngyoungtales to get 10% off your first month of therapy sessions. And in the wise words of my chemistry teacher, go fix your life. And huge thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Alright, with business taken care of, the real business begins. This place is massive. Anime Expo is like, what, 2-3 times the size of VidCon? There's no time to waste. We got anime stuff to see, girls to step on us, what? Money to spend on stuff, and less than a day to get as much free stuff as possible. We had a somewhat large group, and we figured the best thing to do was to split up. They all went a certain direction, leaving me and my other friend, Susan, who was also here for the first time. That's totally not gonna bite us in the butt later on. Oh, we got lost immediately. Twice. I thought it was pretty neat how so many people were in cosplay. Like, if you showed up at Anime Expo and weren't wearing a costume, then you were considered a weirdo. And the amount of time and effort these people put into their costumes is just truly admirable. Like, I saw a Gundam that I was like 90% sure somebody was in it. I bet this guy got a six-pack just for this event, just so that way people can be like, oh, dang, those are not fake abs. Those are his real abs. And they're not getting paid for this either, I don't think. Maybe getting pictures taken of them and admiration from random strangers is payment enough. Seeking recognition and fame, oh, how superficial. Speaking of pictures, I did find it strange how people would want to take pictures with me, not because they recognize me from my YouTube channel, but because of my Haikyuu cosplay. So they didn't even know how famous I was. This guy has no idea how famous I am. Hey, do you even know how famous? I gotta say though, the Yu-Gi-Oh merch, Not very impressed. You see this face? This is the face of huge disappointment. I see this really cool looking statue of a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon in front of the booth thinking, oh shoot, clearly if they care to decorate their booth this nicely, clearly the merch should also look good. But what do I find? Cheap looking PNG from Google Images slapped on a t-shirt that cost like 60 bucks. Come on guys, I'm assuming you were licensed to do this, right? There's just so much potential that you can make something really cool. But what do you decide to make? Dark Magician boxers? What even is this? No wonder they only displayed toon monsters because this merch is a joke. While waiting in line for my badge, I passed this dude wearing a Blue Eyes White Dragon sweater. Now why the heck this guy would be wearing a sweater in California summertime is completely beyond me. But let me tell you, that design is totally something I'd pay for. I even tried Googling for it, but all I got were stuff like this. Hey, these look like the stuff the booth were selling. Lame. Ugh, man, why was I too shy to ask him? So that was a huge bummer. Anyways, I think it's pretty clear that you pay money to get into Anime Expo to spend more money. But Anime Expo veterans, I'm just curious, like, are there certain things you should never buy at Anime Expo? Like, what are the do's and don'ts? In my mind, t-shirts should be definitely one of them. Like these, for example. The design could suck, but the material sucks, or the entire thing sucks in general, but if someone actually bought it, that's kind of on them. Or the most heinous of all, they didn't even design it. Let's just say I saw several designs that I have definitely seen elsewhere. Art thievery is very bad. Personally, I know if I was to be buying a t-shirt, I would be looking for material that feels nice and soft, will survive multiple washes, and design that rocks, pleasing to the eye. You know, something that is pretty clear that the artist put a lot of love and care into creating. Just one Tofu's opinion. Notice how I didn't say body pillow or any of those other questionable non-family friendly items because clearly anyone that can simply walk up to the owner and proclaim to the world, "Shopkeeper, I shall shamelessly be taking that inappropriate pillow home with me. Shut up and take my money." That person must give 0 Fs about what everyone else thinks, and you know what has therefore earned my respect because that is something I would never do. Just order it online. It's not like I went into Anime Expo completely blind without any standards on what I should and shouldn't buy. My criteria, which applies to any time I go to a convention, was basically that it had to be unique, something I don't see very often, one of a kind, therefore most likely more expensive, but that's probably okay, or just way too cool to pass up, aka I'll know it when I see it. So I did have those to guide me. It's just that, you know, it tends to get thrown out the window when Yu-Gi-Oh cards and certain plushies are involved. So yeah, if cards and plushies were part of the do not buy list, oh, I failed miserably. Anytime these eyes laid upon a booth that sold individual Yu-Gi-Oh cards or had a massive display of Pokemon plushies, oh man, I just had to look at them all. This one booth in particular was just my absolute kryptonite because it had both. Binders upon binders of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and boxes of Pokemon plushies. I'm talking Yamega, Volcarona, Durant, Whiscash. Ugh. If there was a giant Centiskorch plushie, I don't know what I would have done. But there it was. Not the Centiskorch plushie, but a large Rayquaza plush. And I've seen my fair share of Rayquaza plushies, and they just are absolutely terrible. But this one actually looks really good. And not only that, this was bendy. Now begs the question, how much is it? Well, let's just say this is one of those items that I would call a flex buy. Because for a moment, everyone will see you purchase it and be like, whoa, both in admiration and judgmental tones. I gotta say, this one was definitely very tempting despite the price. You know, your friends are supposed to be like the voices of reason, but all I got during this time was, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do you even spend money, bro? Do it. In the end, let's just say, I had my flex moment. I guess now is a good time to show off my quote-unquote Anime Expo haul, and I'm gonna justify why they actually met my criteria. In addition to my glorious Rayquaza plushie, I got a very soft Gyarados plushie. It was the last one, and I didn't see the same kind anywhere else. I got a Centiskorch Pokemon card. It's actually the first Pokemon card I bought. Clearly, it's the best card there is. That's totally fact, not just my opinion. I got 2 Mystery Yu-Gi-Oh card packs. Okay, I guess this doesn't meet the criteria, but it's just too tempting to pass up, okay? I got a lot of free bags. This guy saw that I was wearing a Haikyuu cosplay and gave me this Kageyama stand thing, so that was pretty cool. And he didn't even know how famous I was. I got some manga books. I don't really intend on reading the story. I mainly just want to look at the art and look for references. And before the day was winding down, I managed to nab the last copy of Yoshimichi Kameda Artworks book, which basically shows the animation keyframes from animes he worked on. If anything, this was probably the most productive thing I bought. But unfortunately, by the end of it, we all realized we missed one crucial aspect of Anime Expo that everyone should see: Artist Alley. In the end, due to impulsivity and the lack of time-constrained discipline, we did not get to experience everything that we wanted. Not even close. Even my friends that have been here before didn't even see Artist Alley either because they made the same mistake last year. In the panels, I didn't get to see the panels, which by the way sounded really cool. Animation, storytelling, fight scenes, choreography, sound effects, all the things that I would be interested in learning more about that aren't really covered at VidCon. Why have I not come sooner? So yeah, that was my experience at Anime Expo. Am I sad I missed some important stuff? Yes. Am I glad I went? Also yes. Would I pay to have someone step on me? Who knows? Okay, but is it even like realistic that you can experience all of Anime Expo in one day? I don't think so, but let me know in the comments below. Also, I just want to make it clear that I don't just outright ask people if they know that I'm famous or I tell them that I'm famous. I thought I made it pretty clear that I was joking, but I guess anything's possible with the internet. And there are people like that, unfortunately, so it's quite sad. Anyway, so just want to make it clear, I'm an incredibly humble person. Oh man, okay. Well, that'll be it for this end card. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very excited for the next few uploads that I got coming up. So I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and stay young.